So 666 is one of these things that's coded in as a trigger, you know, to make us worry that it's the number of the beast. And what is it? What is 666? Well, in English, the word F-O-X, or fox, actually transliterates into 666 because F is the 6th letter, O is the 15th letter, and X is the 24th letter. So, you know, 1 and 5, 2 and 4, 666. So fox. And of course, as I showed you, the G1.9 looks exactly like the Firefox or Fire 666 logo. All right? Conoco also breaks down into 666 and a pentagram, and of course Disney and Monster, and you'll find numerous 666s all around. And then it also boils into the VW logo. So if you took it to Hebrew, you got 3 V's because you're crossing 2 V's to make 3, and there you have once again 666. But the 66 is actually the number of the fallen angels according to Kabbalistic practices, which is what our leaders follow. And so W actually is the letter or number 66 of the fallen angels. And this is why in Star Wars they say execute order 66 and they kill all the Jedi. And then you'll also notice in your new story of Fringe, as they go to the other dimension in Fringe, they're all got FF on their logos, which again goes back to this fallen angel scenario. Okay, so let's move right ahead. If you want to get deeper and deeper into that story, which I could go on and on about it, you have to pick up the DVDs. I got it all. Or just go to freemantv.com. Everything's free there if you want. So now we've got the whole story where we're looking at this situation. They're trying to program society. They've been through the different scare tactics. We've had the different, the Red Scare, the terrorists, the asteroids, and now we're up to aliens. And of course they're programming this through all the different media streams, and they want to program the youth into proper reactions to the systems that they're going to bring about. So in order to program the youth, they use all their tactics of comic books, cartoons, commercials, billboards, you know, whatever. And they're using this to program a dark hero, or this fallen angel type character. So you'll see that they killed off Superman back in 2000. Now Superman is a quintessential Nephilim. He's a fallen angel that came to Earth, has superpowers, and is able to, you know, well, leap buildings with his... But they killed off Superman. They turned him into 6 clones, which I thought was pretty interesting, but these 6 clones didn't really take off. The one clone that they made sure was primary was a black Superman who carried guns. What does Superman need with guns? Nothing. But it's for programming the youth, for programming what they want you to be. But then they says, let's do away with Superman, let's make Hellspawn our true character of worth. So Hellspawn was brought into the picture through Image Comics. So Superman dies, he's replaced by Hellspawn. Hellspawn fights pedophilic rapists. That's his... You're giving these comics to children, you know? Batman, he also died in 2000. He had his back broken by Bane, and he was replaced by a character known as Azrael. Well, Azrael just happens to be the fallen angel that taught warfare and wearing high heels and makeup to the people in the Book of Enoch. So suddenly Batman was a fallen angel. And then, of course, V for Vendetta, which you'll find at all your Occupy movements. If you haven't seen it, go to our YouTube channel. I've been to every Occupy movement there is. I'll tell you all about that as soon as we're done. But of course, everybody dressing up in the V for Vendetta mask, which is very curious because the character that he's portraying is Guy Fawkes. And Guy Fawkes was the original Fall Guy, the guy who took all the blame for the gunpowder plot, even though he wasn't guilty. But that's where we get the term Fall Guy, and now a Kabbalist magician who practices secret rituals of magic behind locked doors has gotten everyone to wear this face for protests. Yeah. This is how Hollywood works. So one step further, and Disney takes over for Marvel. So now you know where your programming is coming from, because you know, I showed you Werner von Braun with Disney, And Disney has control over most of our propaganda. Now, Werner von Braun and Walt Disney put together what they called Project X, otherwise known as the Experimental Prototype Civilization of Tomorrow, or EPCOT. And what they did is they put you through this whole system, which is actually produced by military-industrial corporations. My dad worked for Martin Marietta, building nuclear missiles, and Martin Marietta has a ride inside of EPCOT. You can put the list together. Siemens takes care of that big ball they've got in there. And I thought I had a picture of the... and Siemens, of course, is the very corporate logo that you will see on Auschwitz. So when you go into Walt Disney World, you give them your credit card, you go in, and then they say, well, you'd be a whole lot safer if you just gave us your fingerprint. So then they got your credit card, your fingerprint, but they don't have your picture yet until you get in that big ball from Siemens. And then they take your photograph and they ask you, well, what's your favorite vacation? And they take your little face and they put it on a cartoon and you get to watch yourself on your favorite vacation, which of course is all programming. And then as you get off the ride, you come down, your face goes out of the ride and goes to your home state. And they are databasing everyone that goes through this park. Everybody's facial recognition, everybody's fingerprint. And if you want to, you can spend a little extra money and have your face planted in titanium out front. Just so it'll be there for the end of the world. Okay, so Disney is a military-industrial complex. Disney admits that they've had no greater campaign to get people to pay their taxes. What is that doing? Than Donald Duck. Donald Duck did more to get people to pay their income taxes than any campaign the government ever tried. And it was so much so that Disney boasts, well, you know what? Joseph Goebbels, the propagandist of the Nazis, took Walt Disney's tactics to program their children. You go watch Disney on the front lines, and you see, they'll boast to you how the Nazis were just so admiring of Walt Disney's work that they decided to program their youth in the same way. That's not the other way around.
Well, it's a small world after all.
You know, and they are into eugenics. Yes, that is the eugenic programming right there. It's a small world after all. Okay, so now they start to get into a little more mind control programming. And of course, Walt Disney is the man behind the mask. The one you see here is Alan Moore, the magician I was telling you about, who programmed all of these people. And Madonna, of course, connected with Disney. Britney, of course, connected with Disney. Justin Timberlake, connected with Disney. Christina Aguilera, connected to Disney. Michael Jackson, connected to Disney. All right, they're all Disneyites. All Disneyites. And the Sorcerer's Apprentice. And they're using these means and methods to start to program the children. And what do they want to program them into? Blood sacrifice.
That was so creepy.
Okay, this is the VMA Awards. She did this on American Idol as well, you know, nice child time programming. She promotes herself as a Luciferian character with burning angels on stage. And once again, this being at a Video Music Awards, not, you know, video where it's just, this is live and in front of children. And Lady Gaga, of course, is the one that they have brought forward so that we could all talk about her, to make this almost an open agenda, to bring it all to the forefront. Because Lady Gaga in Rolling Stone magazine claims that she dreamt of this Illuminati ritual where she had a child laying down on a bed strapped, and she had slit the wrist and was pouring honey into the wounds. You can go read this in Rolling Stone magazine, Lady Gaga. And her mother says, oh, Gaga, that sounds like an Illuminati ritual. And what the heck does Gaga's mom know about Illuminati rituals, right? You know, pouring honey in the, I've never heard of this before. I study this stuff, right? What? So she's bringing it all forward. Her latest news, of course, is that she was in a London hotel with a bunch of Scottish Rite Freemasons. This just came out. Of course, it happened, I think, in November, but the press is just now coming up with it. And left a bathtub full of blood in the hotel.
What?
Yeah, check it out. It's in the news right now. And of course, she was meeting with a bunch of Freemasons.
It's of the Lord.
Now,
She's so gross.
when you... This also goes back to the Scarlet Woman of the Ordo Templi Orientis, which is more of a sexual occult order based loosely on Freemasonry. It's kind of another sect of Freemason, a pendant body of Freemasonry, the Ordo Templi Orientis, OTO, and they worship the Scarlet Woman, who is supposed to be the herald of revelations. And so, you know, there you see her as the Scarlet Woman, and of course the bloody sacrifice. Now the Freemasons, they will come out and they put on these rituals inside of locked doors, and I've been to more Mason temples than Masons, and I can tell you all about what I've seen. And I've also seen that Roy Kroc of McDonald's is a Freemason, Dave Thomas of Wendy's is a Freemason, Colonel Sanders is a Freemason, and these are just a few of the obscure ones. You know, all your food are weapon systems, all these fast food companies, and of course every corporate logo is a Masonic logo. But this is what you would dress up like if you were going to go into a Mason lodge and take your oath of agreement, which is binding yourself under no less penalty than to have your throat cut across, your tongue pulled out by the roots and buried in the rough sands of the sea. And you wear a noose around your neck and you're blindfolded and you have, you know, a pant leg rolled up and your shirt bared and all that. Well, so lo and behold, at the Video Music Awards, what happens to Pink? Yeah, she shows up in full Masonic regalia. Yes. You'll see that instead of the rolled up pant leg, she has the checkerboard floor of a Freemason. Let me see if I can get both those pictures up at once so you can see that together.
Pink.
This is Pink from...
So what dirt do you have on Taylor Swift?
Taylor Swift. She was actually, she was tried. She was the one, did they ridicule her on stage? Was that her?
Kanye West. She's wearing red too.
Yeah, well, she came out in white. And then, was it Jay-Z? Kanye comes out, ridicules, and now we got Jay-Z Kanye connection with the Freemasons and all.
The new one, Lana Del Rey, which then Brian Williams and NBC News, after she had a very bad performance on Saturday Night Live, said the worst Saturday Night Live musical guest ever.
Right. Well, you know, most of them can't sing. They have auto tunes going on, like Britney. You know, poor girl.
Michael Jackson.
No, it's covered up with body paint.
They couldn't afford for him to get the word out because he was going to start exposing them, and that's why they got killed.
Or was he killed? I have another theory. So now you see that they are actually programming your youth, and they are putting all of this into the system and engineering a new type of family, as Disney ABC calls it. And of course, the new modern family are transvestites. And you'll know that the Nazi Party was actually formed in a gay bar. I don't know if you know this, but the Nazi Party was very gay. And they actually did not like effeminate gays. So they would get rid of effeminate gays, but they loved the hardcore gays.
Have you seen Washington? The brown shirts are mostly gay. Have you seen Washington?
Washington. And his little boyfriend Lafayette.
Rick Perry, his boyfriend.
Yeah, well, as just a little side note here.
Whoa.
A month after Michael Jackson died, this turned up in the Chicago Museum. Now, our current timeline believes that this bust has always been in the Chicago Museum. But my timeline says different. Because now we're talking about time travel and extra-dimensional travel. I interviewed the head of the Time Travel Institute, and he told me that I was most likely correct about Michael Jackson.